All right, ramblers, let's ramble. Something a little different today. Some friends and some students knew that I was going away to check out ayahuasca at this retreat in Costa Rica, and a lot of people wanted to know more information about it. So I thought, why not do just a quick little video discussing the concerns I had before I went, my experience, and what it was like going to an ayahuasca retreat. So I thought, hey, let's do it. Let's bring up some slides as well. So here we go. And all I want to do really is I don't want to get into my own personal experience under ayahuasca because everybody's is a little bit different. And that's really not the point of this video. The point of the video is if this is something that interests you, this is something that you've been looking at, just to give you my experience, some of my concerns, and what I got out of it. My experience with regard to ayahuasca was at the Rythmia Life Advancement Center in Costa Rica near Liberia. So I can only speak to that. I can't talk about other places that people have done ayahuasca, um, but we can get into that a little bit. So, first of all, what is ayahuasca? So, a lot of you on my Instagram were like, "Hey, well, what is this stuff?" So, first of all, it is a plant-based medicine. A lot of people that start thinking about doing ayahuasca or trying to locate a place to take it probably have a different mindset as to those that have actually gone through it. A lot of people think, hey, let's just, this is wild. I'm going to get visions and I'm going to see minions. But people forget this is a medicine. It is a plant-based medicine, which is what it's been used for thousands of years. It is not a drug. Okay, so some people say, well, it's a drug like Molly, or DMT. Although there's DMT in it, it is not DMT. It is ayahuasca. There's a male and female version of the plant. This is the female version of it. It's not even covered under the 1971 Drug Misuse Act. So the government doesn't even and can't actually consider it a drug. It's been used in medicinal and folk ceremonies longer than we know, longer than it's probably been documented. Again, it is used for healing, and this is what they stress all the time, that it is a plant-based um, medicine that is used for healing a variety of different things. So where can you typically get ayahuasca? Peru, Colombia, Brazil, Ecuador, different places. The one I went to in Costa Rica, they don't grow the fruit there, but the retreat itself was there. So a lot of people will travel to these countries and go in the jungle and find somebody to do ayahuasca. That would be a little bit scary for me. I'm not that adventurous. Um, but if you really want to know more about the medicine itself, I'm not going to go into it. That really isn't the point of this video. The point of this video is my experience at this particular retreat and how it was used there. There's tons of information online. Just go check out ayahuasca, and you'll quickly learn the benefits of it, what the side effects are, and all of that stuff, and figure out if this is something that is for you. You may also want to talk to your therapist if you're in therapy and see what they have to say about it. It's illegal almost everywhere on the planet except Rythmia. The Rythmia retreat, the Rythmia Life Advancement Center in Costa Rica is the one I went to. Why did I decide to do this? A friend of mine said, hey, you come and check out Costa Rica, and you should do this. I think you would like it. And we talked about ayahuasca maybe 5 or 6 years ago. So I've known about ayahuasca forever. Well, not forever, but you know what I mean. Long enough that I knew what I was getting into. So I wasn't afraid of the ayahuasca. What I was afraid of more than anything was my surroundings and my safety. So why did I choose to participate in this one? Well, it's the only one in the world that I know of that has legal status by their government. So they are subject to audits by the Costa Rican government. There are doctors and nurses on staff, on location, present on the retreat. So they are always there. They do a health assessment on you as well. So they take this seriously. During the ayahuasca ceremonies themselves, they are available. In fact, I saw one doctor before a ceremony started give one guest kind of a look over because that guest had come with high blood pressure, but it could have been the result of all the travel and the heat and the go, go, go. So they just wanted to make sure. So they're very, very conscious of the safety of their guests. They made sure his blood pressure was fine. It was fine. It got better as the week went on. So they weren't worried about it. But it just goes to show you that you know that if something, excuse me, is going to happen to you during the ceremony, you know that there's going to be doctors and nurses available there. The ayahuasca is part of a program at Rythmia. So you don't go there and say, yeah, I'll take that ayahuasca, give it to me and let me have my trip. It is not like that at all. This is a 1 week program that has a multitude of things that I'm going to go and talk about. If you don't want to be part of a program and you don't want to do everything in the program, this may not be for you. If you've already gone and done the program, I know that there are people that just go there and they don't actually participate in everything. They just do the ayahuasca because they've already done other parts of the program in the past. However, that's not recommended because some of the best parts of the program, which I will be talking about, are sharing your experiences with other people, which means that you're going to be doing all of the program. The thing that I was most afraid of was, again, whether it be a safe environment. And this, I had no doubt that this was going to be a safe environment, and it turned out to be a safe environment. And we'll talk about that as well. If you want to go online and check out the online reviews of this place, it has an established reputation. First of all, it is a place, whereas a lot of times people are going to go do an ayahuasca. They're doing ayahuasca in some hut somewhere in the jungle, and it's not an establishment per se. It's just you going into the jungle and finding, hey, guess what? I can do ayahuasca here. Or somebody told me that I can do ayahuasca in a certain part of Ecuador, Peru, or Brazil, or whatever. This is an established resort. It used to be a hotel resort, actually, purchased by the owners of Rythmia and turned into this amazing retreat. So go check out the online reviews. They are exceptional. The all of them are giving 4 and 5 stars. So the first thing I want to get right to is people. Sometimes if you say you're going to something like this, they say, "Is it a cult?" Well, let's talk about that first of all. I've done a little bit of teaching with regard to cult and what is a cult. So let's just look at some of the hallmarks of what a cult actually is. Authoritarianism of the leader. The inspiration for Rythmia, Jerry Powell, is actually, it's not like he's there pontificating and acting like he is the second coming. It's not like that at all. I actually met him before the week had started and found him to be one of the most open-minded, nicest people I've ever met in my life. And authoritarian is not the word that I would use at all. And usually in a cult, there's an authoritarian leader that says, you must do this, you must do that. And this is quite the opposite. Another thing is cults have isolationism, meaning you're supposed to renounce association with others. Why? Because if they don't believe what you believe, then they're toxic and you can't have them in their life. This is the opposite. One of the things that they're constantly talking about is how to improve yourself or heal yourself so that you can have better associations with family members, with loved ones, and with others. So again, it is quite the opposite. Exclusivism, only the cult knows the truth, right? So there's this idea in cults that we know the truth and everybody out there, they're the enemy. Again, this is the opposite. When talking with Jerry and another person who helps run the place, Dwayne, we were just sitting around chatting at breakfast, and we're actually having disagreements about certain things with regard to faith, religion, AI, evolution. And there was no truth. There wasn't anybody who said, no, this is the truth. And if you want to be part of this, you have to believe what we believe. In fact, it's quite the opposite. The message is that no matter who comes here, from what faith you come, from what ideology, there is something in it for you. And it's a message that you feel over and over. Cults have a fear of being disfellowed, meaning if you don't agree with us, you will be shunned. This happens in Amish communities as well, right? This idea of shunning people. It's something that is in Jehovah's Witness. Disfellowship is something that happens all the time in Jehovah's Witness as a religion. And you will see it in real cults like Scientology that have all of these hallmarks that I'm talking about. And again, this is the opposite of what you're getting here. The feeling is of freedom, of being able to think what you want to think. And, we're all there basically for, to better ourselves, in some cases to heal people that have had so much trauma in their life that they can't find a solution anywhere else. Cults have an opposition to independent thinking. There's none of that here. And quite frankly, I think somebody had said somewhere online that there was a fear of leaving, which is nonsensical, because at any point you can just walk out of the gate. There are no gates. There's just somebody at the front making sure that everybody that comes in is supposed to be there. If you want to walk out, you can walk out at any time and leave. And if it's not for you, the management will even give you some money back, depending on what your reasoning is. No harm done. And again, this is quite the opposite. So this is Jim Jones of the Guyana tragedy. This was a real cult leader who basically got people to commit mass suicide, right? He had real authoritarian power, and this was real isolationism and exclusivism and fear of being disfellowed. This was a real cult. And I can tell you that none of this existed in my week, and nobody that I talked to afterwards suggested that this was anything of that nature. So let's get into it now. Now that I've kind of done that, because a lot of people fear that right at the beginning. So let's get that right out of the way. So what to expect? First of all, how do you get there? Don't have to worry about it. As soon as you get to the airport, somebody picks you up and they'll drop you off at the end of the week. So if you're not going to Costa Rica to do any travel around the country outside of the week program at Rythmia, then you don't have to worry about anything. I'll pick you up and drop you off. Okay. So that is nothing. A lot of people are afraid of driving through Costa Rica, which I would be too, because the roads are absolutely atrocious. GPS doesn't work very well. So this is perfect for anybody that's afraid of how and where to get there. It is again, 7-day scheduled program. It includes, first of all, they will tell you that safety is their first concern. And this was really important to me because, again, I didn't want to go and do ayahuasca in the middle of a jungle somewhere. So we'll talk about a little bit about safety, but there are 4 ayahuasca ceremonies. So you actually do ayahuasca 4 times. Okay. There's yoga, there's meditation, there's breath work, massage, cleansing, colon cleanse. All your meals are taken care of, and there's amazing accommodation. So this is all part of the 7-day schedule program. Let's go through them, and I'll give you some, tell you what to expect with regard to each of these things, and maybe some tips. So again, I chose Rythmia because, again, I was afraid that if I went somewhere else, there wouldn't be the safety protocols that they have here. Their first concern is safety, physical safety. So self-harm, harm from others, right? This is, again, they talk about this the day one, as soon as you do your orientation. There are shaman and there are shaman assistants that are always present, making sure that people don't hurt themselves and don't hurt others. And you also do a health assessment as soon as you get there, day one. So with regard to your physical safety and physical well-being, I can tell you 100% that this assuaged my fears. And at no point was I ever afraid when I was on the premises. And then, of course, there's emotional and psychological safety, right? Is there somebody that's constantly trying to get you to do something that maybe you're emotionally uncomfortable with or psychologically uncomfortable with? Is somebody playing their head games on you? Absolutely not. There is no overriding ideological message. The message with regard to the plant-based medicine, as well as regular science, regular mainstream medicine. No, in fact, the people here will tell you that they feel that they should go hand in hand, that you don't just say, you know what, I have cancer, but I'm just going to go and do plant-based at Rythmia and it'll get rid of my cancer. No, nobody is going to tell you that at any point. They will not say you have to choose one or the other. There, I agree. There's no reason why you can't have both. And again, at no point is there any messaging that is harmful to a person's emotional or psychological well-being. None that I saw, and I know the hallmarks of this kind of stuff again. And I didn't see any of it, and nobody else. And again, I had conversations with Jews, with Muslims that were devout, and I've had conversations while I was there with fellow atheists, such as myself, and still talking about what everyone was getting out of the program. So nobody is going to press you to be a part of any ideology or any worldview. They have over 18,000 guests that have been documented. So they have information on people in the past. They continue to keep up with them once it's gone. So there are follow-ups. So they take all of this stuff very, very seriously. And that's good to see. So let's talk about the ayahuasca ceremonies themselves. Here you see a picture of a couple of the shamans is plural, actually, not shaman. I made that mistake early on. So there are, like I said, 4 different ayahuasca ceremonies, and there are 4 different vibes to each one. The first one that we did was kind of like to get you into it, and a lot of people got a lot out of it. It was pretty deep. The second one, again, I was told by a lot of people that they felt it was more intense than the first one, that the first one was kind of like an introductory ayahuasca ceremony. The second one was deeper. The third one tended to be a real feminine one, which was awesome. And a lot of the men had it as their favorite, which goes to show you that there was this real need for femininity in a lot of these men's lives. And the fourth one was just the deepest you could go, and it was the longest. There are shamans, and again, I made a mistake here of plural, putting it in en. Oops. But they are there to guide you, and there are helpers. The ceremony itself is just beautiful. The lighting is dim. It's the thing about Costa Rica is it's on the equator, so every day is the same 12 hours of light and dark, which is, if you don't like going to bed and it's dark at like 7 o'clock, and you think, wow, it's so dark, it must be late. Well, it's not, again, because they're on the equator. But the ceremonies, they tend to be dark. There are candles, there's incense, there's a lot of smoke, and there's singing and there's instruments. But it is guided, right? And it is a ceremony. You don't just go up, and it's not, like a big smorgasbord or buffet. You just go up and take your shot and go sit down. You are guided by a shaman. The shaman will say, how do you feel? How many shots have you taken? I'll call them shots. How many have you taken? So they're concerned about your journey that particular night, and they want to make sure that you're not overdoing it. So again, each night, different theme. There's a different vibe from the first ceremony, which is on the Monday. There's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Thursdays is totally different. Okay. Again, each one night will have music, smoke, singing, blessings, and of course, purging, or what you would call puking, right? They would call it purging, because they will talk about what it means to purge and what it means from kind of I'll just use the term metaphysical or spiritual, even though that's really kind of inaccurate. It's just my vernacular to kind of convey what people went through. So the puking, most people don't look forward to it. By the time everything is over, you're used to it and it's not a big deal, and you almost look forward to it, to be honest with you. because it is only after you've purged that you really feel different. You feel lighter and you feel real a real sense that the ayahuasca is going to do its thing. As it's percolating in your stomach, if you're trying not to puke or you're trying to wait for it to go away, you might not get a lot out of it because now it's in your system and now you're thinking about your nausea as opposed to just being open. So everybody pukes at some point. I think I did 5 times. I wish I had done it more. Actually, I couldn't one night. I wish I did because if I did, I think I would have gotten more out of it. Um, there's a bucket, so everybody has a mattress, toilet paper, cleaning your mouth, and in case it goes out the other end as well. One of the things they say to prepare you is never trust a fart. And it's not a joke. They're serious because sometimes people may think it's just gas, and really they may be supposing that they should go to the bathroom to do number two. And there's lots of bathrooms there. 2 bathrooms that are outside have a beautiful. There's a fire going on, and there's a shaman out there making sure that everyone is safe outside because people like to walk outside of where the ceremony takes place. So again, you're going to get used to the puking. Not a big deal by the end of it. You know what? I liked hearing people puking because I then equated it with something that was good and not something that was evil. Um, so dancing, you will see people, some of the shamans, especially in the third night when it's being run by the women. There's tons of dancing. You'll find maybe yourself dancing if you like to dance. Again, it's dark and the lighting and the music all allows you to be free to do whatever the hell you want. If you want to dance, you go dance. If you want to go outside and lay under the stars, you do that. You want to go sit in a hammock outside, you can do that. You can really do whatever you want. There's always going to be helpers around making sure that you're fine. It's about 7 hours long, the entire ceremony, except for the last one, which goes all the way until sun up until 8 a.m. It's more like 12, 13 hours. Um, the men and the women are split. So all of the women are on one side, all of the men are on the other side, if that's a fear. And again, they do that so that the women feel safe, so that the women, don't have to worry. Somebody can come and, cop a feel. Is somebody going to come and intimidate me? Is some big tough guy going to be around and now I'm going to be afraid? Some guy with a foot fetish going to come around looking at our feet. You don't have to worry about that. Women on one side, men on the other. In fact, if you are there with your girlfriend or your wife and you guys try to meet up, they will try to split you up and say, no, this is not the way it's to be. Women over there and men over there. So there's constant attention. If you're having a hard time, they will know it, they will notice, and they will come and they will help. They'll, guide you through it. Okay. And not everyone takes the medicine each time. So there were people there that decided, you know what, tonight I'm going to participate in the ceremony, but I'm not going to do the ayahuasca. Just kind of want to relax, take it in, and maybe save it for the next night. So you don't have to do it every night, right? And again, if this was a cult, if this was authoritarian, somebody would say, you must. If you are one of us, you have to do it. There's no pressure. If you want to go 4 days without doing ayahuasca, you can do that. Nobody's going to pressure you. Okay. And this is what it looks like. This is they have a name for it that I always mix up. I always call it the Malacca by mistake, but it's something like the Majorca or something like. There's a special name for this building. It's like a holy kind of place where the ayahuasca ceremonies take place. So this right here is where the shamans would be and the helpers, and they also play instruments. Sometimes they'll move up to this area right here as they did the third night with the women, all women shaman and helpers, so that they were up here, and then you would see people sitting in front of them or dancing in this area. 2 bathrooms back here, and then if you leave out this exit is where the fire and 2 more bathrooms are. But as you can see, there's your bucket, there's your toilet paper, there's your blanket, there's your mattress, and basically you go up here, you take your shot, and then you go and lay down. Okay. What to expect? You're going to hear people crying. They're going to be going through emotional stuff. You might hear people yelling. One night I heard a guy screaming motherfucker probably about 10 times. And he was outside and they had to make sure that he was okay. And at one point, they actually had to kind of subdue him to make sure he wasn't hurting himself and others. But this person, and I talked to afterwards, there's a lot of trauma in this person's life. And everybody there is going through something different. Some people just sleep right through it. They take a shot of ayahuasca and they sleep for 4 or 5 hours. And what's going on while they're sleeping, who knows? That's between them and their experience. Moaning, the guy next to me was moaning so much on the fourth night that actually I had to go and get another mattress and go to another corner, um, because it happens sometimes. It is so quiet in there that you can hear a pin drop. So any little moan, especially if somebody's next to you, can impact your ability to kind of relax and go under and let the ayahuasca do its job. You're going to hear puking all the time. You get used to it. First time you hear it, it's like, oh my God, that guy's really retching. By day 2, day 3, it's not a big deal at all. Zero pressure to take the medicine. Like I said, you ultimately decide if you're taking more or not. And when you want to decide, basically you use the shaman as a guide, right? And that is my first tip. Use them. They're amazing. One night I was really, really um, in a euphoric state, but not to the point where I was having visions. And the truth is, this is why a lot of people come to do ayahuasca. They want the visions, right? That's why they're coming. They want the visions. They want the psychedelic trip. Mind you, you can do that anywhere, right? You can just take DMT or mushrooms and go wild and do that in your hometown, but that's really not what this place is about, right? It's about healing. So I just simply talked to shaman and I just said, I don't know if I should take more. And he asks you questions and he guides it and he says, and then by the end of it, he says, you know what, maybe just do half, right? And see how you feel. And then you can go up and do another half if you want. And they talk you through it so you feel safe. Another tip is ask for a blessing after you've purged. And this is one of the great things. Actually, this was my mattress right there. And you're not allowed to take pictures if you're wondering in this place when you talk about safety. Anybody that has a camera in here, next day you are on the bus out of there. They will boot your ass out of there so quickly. Has to be private. Everybody has, I mean, we have a social contract with each other. We're not going to tell each other what happens afterwards and what everybody went through. And we're not going to film it and put it on YouTube, right? Because this is all very personal for everyone. So what I would do is I found my own little system when I was about to purge. I could feel it was coming on. I would take my bucket and I would go over here to a corner by myself where it was quiet. And because the shaman would see that I was about to purge, he would come over, make sure I was okay, give me some toilet paper for my mouth, make sure I was all right. But then afterwards, what he would do is, now that you've cleansed yourself of whatever's in your stomach, he would do this kind of a blessing with smoke and oil. And it was absolutely incredible, just from a physical standpoint, the feeling of just having purged. So now you've thrown up, your stomach is empty. You know what it's like when you've had the stomach flu, how great you feel right afterwards, right? Right after it's all come out. And if you feel, cleansed and refreshed. And now he comes and does his thing and splashes this, holy liquid or whatever it is on your back and on your front, and then puts oil in your hands. The whole thing is just amazing. It just feels amazing. So if you're by yourself, like I was in the corner, they notice, they come over, make sure you're all right, give you a blessing. Or if you've done it at your mattress, then afterwards, just go and ask a shaman, can I have a blessing? And usually you'll sit in front of me, you'll kneel, and they'll do it. And it is absolutely incredible. People there didn't get a blessing until the last night, where everybody got one in a healing circle. Wasn't as special in my opinion. Go up to a shaman and ask for one. Taking the medicine, what to expect? Okay, no joke, no beating around the bush. The taste is absolutely atrocious. It's disgusting. Um, some people had no problems with it. One guy said he thought it tasted like chocolate. I didn't get that. If I had to describe it, I would describe it as taking a bunch of blackberries, mushing them up, taking out all of the sweetness, and then adding a little bit of ammonia or urine, because really it was disgusting to me. And I had a hard time getting it down. One of the reasons why I didn't go deeper some nights is only because I couldn't drink any more of it, because just mentally I couldn't get past the taste. You have to find your drinking technique. Are you going to do it in one shot? Are you going to do it in sips? But you have to find a way to get it down. One tip was, in the daytime, you could get some honey into a cup, bring the honey with you, put the honey on your gums, or in your mouth, so that when you take it, there's a little bit of sweetness in your mouth. You can't drink water afterwards. You have to just have the ayahuasca in your stomach with nothing else. So you do rinse out your mouth. You can rinse out your mouth as much as you want, which I suggest. Um, by the last night, I used a little bit of juicy fruit gum to get a little bit of sweetness down my throat. So again, how much you do is up to you. Okay. It's up to you. You could be guided by a shaman. And again, every night is a different vibe. So Tuesday was not like Wednesday. Wednesday was not like Thursday. Final tip: mind your own business. People are going to be going through a hard time. Some people are going to be through an awesome time. You're going to see people walking around like zombies with a big smile on their face. And you're going to see people that look like they have the weight of the world on their shoulder. Mind your own business. They will tell you this. Do not touch anyone. Don't console anyone. Don't ask anybody, are you okay? If you are genuinely fearful for the safety of another person, you go up to a helper or a shaman and you say, can you please, keep an eye on my friend for me? But then you got to go back into your own place. This is your journey. It's your ceremony for you. Whatever experience you're going to be getting out of it is yours, and theirs is theirs. You're not to mingle, give high fives while you're under. You wait until it's all over. It's an individual journey, and they'll tell you this. And you have to ensure that you don't make this a party. That's not what this is about. It's not a sharing experience. So part of the program, usually every morning, starts at 7 a.m. with yoga. And again, this is the same place. This is somebody doing yoga here. There's different types of yoga. So one guy one day will do a more relaxing kind of yoga and talk a lot. And then the next yoga may be somebody that's actually a little bit more difficult and more challenging. So they're all different. So some are more relaxing, some are more challenging. There is no attention placed on you. So I know a lot of people that don't like to do yoga back in whatever, back here, back at home. One of the complaints they have is, you know what, I'm really not good at yoga, but I hate when they come and they mark me out and then they come and touch me and try to help me. I just want to be left alone. They will give you zero attention unless you want it. There is no pressure on you during yoga to do any of it. If you just want to go there and lay there and take it in, you can. Okay. So, and they will tell you this too. So one guy that helps run the show, Dwayne, he gave the advice in the first orientation where he says, look, go to everything, even if you're tired. Just go sleep in class, sleep in yoga, sleep in meditation, but just get there. And by the end of the week, I understood why that was important. Okay. It is important. So my tip is, if you're too tired, 7 a.m., the night before, you didn't fall asleep until 3 because it was a ceremony. So you got like 3-4 hours of sleep, 3.5 hours of sleep. Go anyways. I probably slept through half of yoga. I like the idea of, I'm not good at yoga, but I like the idea of breathing, doing a few stretches that I can do. And the rest of the time, I just laid there. Nobody bothered me. And sometimes I fall asleep for about 10, 15 minutes. Go anyways. Go, go, go. Even if, again, you're too tired and you don't like yoga. Okay. Sleep in yoga, not in your room. Meditation. Okay. So meditation, same thing. Um, Helps you focus, helps you with different kinds of meditative technique. It's very, very quiet, helps you relax your mind. Some of these techniques are good in ayahuasca because one of the problems that some people have with regard to ayahuasca is that their mind races. And because their mind is racing, they can't let the medicine in because they're just thinking too much, right? And that's the reason why a lot of people are there in the first place is because their mind is racing. So a lot of the meditation and the breath work can actually help you open up so that the ayahuasca will take hold. So here's my tip. Same as yoga, go and sleep, even if you aren't into meditation. Meditation was my least favorite thing. I still went to all of them anyways. Breath work. Now, this is one that I got to talk about for a little bit because this blew my mind. I had never experienced anything like this in my life. The breath work was the most surprising experience that I had. So, my program started on the Sunday. It either starts on the Saturday or Sunday for people. So, Sunday, the only thing that we had on the Sunday was orientation and breath work. So, the breath work, you're in the same place that you do the yoga, meditation, ayahuasca ceremony. It's dark. Everybody has their mask on. And the person who was doing it on the Sunday taught us like 5 different kinds of techniques of breathing. So you would go deep in, deep out, or you go like 2 in and 2 out, or really, really fast, in, out, or in, out, whatever. I don't remember what they were, but they're all different. And then what she got you to do was cycle through them. And apparently this helps release your body, release DMT. And DMT is what gives you the visions and gives you the state of euphoria and all that stuff that people want to, this is why people do DMT and do mushrooms and, of course, ayahuasca. So when you're doing the breath work, we haven't taken any, ayahuasca at this point. We're taking no drugs. And a matter of fact, you haven't taken any drugs in preparation for a couple weeks. So they want you to get off of drugs. So just by doing breath work, I couldn't believe the experience that we had. Some people experienced a physiological and emotional effect just from breathing. I can tell you myself that my experience was like being on MDMA, like being on Molly. It was a state of euphoria. And while I'm under it, I'm like, I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe I feel like this from breathing, from breath work. And I started to get T-Rex hands. I couldn't move my hands. My bottom part of my jaw was starting to freeze. I couldn't believe what was going on. Emotionally, things were going on. You could hear people crying. When it was all said and done, you wake up, the guy next to me, his face was just like wet from this emotional experience that he had had just from doing breathing. I couldn't believe it. I was shocked. Shocked to the point where all I could think of was, how am I going to recreate this back in the old country? Because I've never experienced anything like this. And the music was amazing as well. And so between the music and the breathing and having the mask on and the incense and the smoke, it was absolutely magical. The music that first night of breath work was like almost like EDM. I would have thought that I was, just at a rave between the euphoria, the having the hands kind of freezing up and having the music. It was a magical experience. And like I said, there's various types of breath work. So another night of breath work was totally different. Some people like the one better than the other because this one may have been too intense. So some of 2 of them of the breath work, I liked this one the best. Sundays was just amazing for me. Blew me away. I can't say enough about it. Tip: do not miss them. The breath work was the most surprising thing that I got out of the whole week. Do not miss them. And if the one on Sunday is going to be like the one that I had on the Sunday, my God, I've never experienced anything like it. Okay, so You got a colon cleanse. One of my fears when I went was the cleanse. Why? Because as soon as you go online and you look up colon cleanses, the first thing you're going to see is danger, Will Robinson, danger, danger, danger. You're going to see stories of people perforating their colon, perforating other stuff, too much pressure. They use solution in the cleanse. So I was really, really afraid of this. As soon as I got there, my fears were assuaged very quickly when they said, our cleanse is gravity drip and it is nope. So there's no pressure being blown and there are no solutions. So gravity, not pressure, no solutions. It's not as invasive as a typical cleanse. And as somebody who's never done one, who didn't want to do one, who was trying to think of excuses not to do it, I can tell you that it was not only not a big deal, but I signed up for my second one very quickly. I had no problems with it. You're only putting four, if you can see my fingers, four fingers into your, you know where. And everybody that I know that did it, everybody was, oh, I don't know if I want to do it, blah, blah, blah. And by the end of it, nobody had a problem with it. Most people were actually surprised that they either liked it or didn't hate it. Here's a tip. Book one before your first ceremony. So book one either for the Sunday or Monday afternoon, and book your second one before the last ceremony. But you can book them anytime you want. One person did it at the very end just so they could leave the place all cleaned out. Massage. Everybody's entitled to one massage, and it's real. They know what they're doing. You can use the type of massage. You can use what oils and scents, and they go through it. Do you want a deep tissue massage? Do you want a relaxing massage? Do you want and they ask you, and you get to pick the one you want. And my tip here is, as soon as you check in, book immediately when you want that massage. And I would suggest to book it for the Saturday or the Friday. Why? Because you've worked your ass off in this program, and it is work. You're going to consider this work. And after all is said and done, and all of the emotion and all of the trauma that you've gone through, and the cleanses and all of it, it's maybe so heavy that it's so nice on the Saturday to end with a beautiful, nice, relaxing massage. So that was a tip that I got online from somebody, and I'm passing that one forward. Meals. What are the meals like? So this was my second concern when I got there, when I learned that it's mostly plant-based, not a lot of salt, and very, very healthy. I was like, I hope there's a little bit of salt, because I've always been afraid of overhydration. And the meals are all farm to table, emphasis on plant-based diet. However, the proteins come from eggs for breakfast, and for lunch and dinner, a little bit of fish, a little bit of chicken. All the food tasted excellent. It tasted fresh. Nobody felt like crap afterwards. Everybody was like, I want to eat like this when I get home, but I don't know how, right? It depends where you come from. People from California, where there's excellent farm to table every single day of their lives, even in the winter, they're going to have no problems, bringing this kind of diet home. Living in Canada, good luck getting farm to table in January. So when I got back, because I loved having so much pineapple while I was there, I go to Loblaws and I look up, and there's the pineapples. And of course, where do they come from? From Costa Rica. Well, I just had pineapple that was picked ripe in Costa Rica. Now I'm going to eat pineapple in Canada that's been traveling on a boat or a train or a truck and is being picked before it's ripe, and it's not going to be the same. So it is going to be hard to replicate a lot of this. But the meals there, more than enough food, more than enough variety. You got the freshest fruit, unlimited pineapple juice, unlimited coconut water, and there's a juice program if that's what you want. Some simple desserts, not overly sweet. Just something to have with your organic coffee that they have there, organic coffee and tea. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner every single night, except ceremony nights. So if there's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday are ceremony, you're doing ayahuasca. So there's no dinner. Can't eat dinner. There's not going to be any dinner for you. They always suggest eat a big breakfast if you're going to have if for the day of the ceremony. Have a big breakfast for lunch. Keep a little bit lighter. Rice and beans, something bland. You don't want to get stuffed. You want to make sure that your stomach is kind of empty for that ayahuasca. And again, unlimited fresh pineapple juice, which we made a big joke of at the end of the week, and coconut water. But it's, when you go and pick the fruit or the salad, that stuff has been picked like just recently. So it's the best you're going to get. And like I said, there's an optional juice program for those that like, beet juices and celery juices and all that. And I can't drink that stuff. Again, more than enough food and variety. So my fear with regard to food, day one, no more fear. There's no super processed foods unless you count oat milk, which some people call super processed, depending on how it's made and depending on who makes it. So from my group, 413, the group that went through, we were the 413th group to go through to do this program. I didn't hear one complaint about meals. As a matter of fact, it was the opposite. People were wondering how they would continue to eat like this going forward when they went home. So most people wanted to continue the diet. Tips: stash some of the banana muffins, okay, so that when you're done your ceremony and it's 2 a.m., if you're feeling a little peckish, you got some of these delicious banana muffins. So wrap a few of them up and take them to your room. And another tip: meal times can be the most rewarding times. Just sitting there talking with other guests. So in our group, there was about 60 guests. I think the max is 90 to 100 that they can do. So there's about 60, 55 to 60 in our group. This is some of the most rewarding time. This is when people just open up. Oh, what'd you think about last night? Oh my God, I couldn't stop crying. I was thinking about my mother. I was thinking about my daughter. I was thinking about my sister. Now you're starting to talk and you're starting to share, starting to open up. You're breaking bread with somebody that's there for the same reason. And it really is an amazing experience to sit there through all of these meals. Some of my best experiences and memories were at mealtime. Accommodations, resort, amenities. Let's talk about that just briefly. The rooms, gorgeous, clean, comfortable, everything you need. No TVs, thank God. Nothing to watch. I guess if you have your laptop, you can watch on your laptop, but no television. Friendliest staff. I've been to 5-star hotels, and I've been to the Red Roof Inn, where every room the carpet smells like smoke. I've seen that all. This is up there. The friendliest staff ever. Beautiful smiles on their faces when you wake up in the morning. And the staff is part of what makes the whole experience so amazing, because they are top notch, just like everything is top notch. There is a pool for people who want to sit by the pool and journal or talk. There is a gym that has the bare necessities of what you need in a gym. There's a hot and cold plunge behind the gym that you can use. There's a mud bath. Sulfur, with that sulfur smell, you can put all over your body. There's that you can do. And again, this is all free. There's no extra charge for any of that. There are beach days, 2 days where the shuttle goes down to the beach, which is 5 minutes away. They take you down and you spend some time there. You can do whatever you want. And then you come back. What you will experience from others, and I recognize this table. So there are going to be people there that have the exact same anxieties from you as you. And what you'll notice is that half the people there can't sleep at night because their mind races. And, that's common, right? I mean, shit, I have that problem. I can't sleep a lot of the times because my mind races. So, sometimes I have to take an edible or something like that. These are people that are looking to heal, right? So there are people there that want to heal, whatever that means to them. Maybe they have trauma in their life. Maybe they're trying to forget their past. Maybe they're trying to let, some baggage go, whatever it is, whatever that term means to people, they are there to heal, right? So everybody is there for the same reason, which is why everybody feels so safe, and why they feel that they can open up so easily. Um, they're going to be, again, people asking for guidance on personal issues to the shaman, to people that do talks. They're going to be people there that do various talks um, every day. Usually after a ceremony, they have these sessions where they'll ask, who had this happen to them? Who had a vision? Who slept through it all? Who had a surgery? Meaning, who had a vision that they were performing surgery on them? I mean, you're going to hear all crazy stuff. One guy, in his vision, the snake came down, planted seeds in his arm, and then he started seeing roots growing out of his arm. So, there are people that had other issues. So then they would, go and talk to an expert saying, hey, you know what? I went through this. What do you think that means? Or has this ever happened to you? So there are people that are just asking. There is effusive sharing. People just share. You will see guys in day one, day two that are big, muscle brown guys, maybe from the military or from, mixed martial arts, that are ripped and massive and all tatted up. And by the end of the week, they're, blubbering, or they're having an emotional time talking about their children or their dog. Um, Everybody shares easily. And again, nobody has to. Nobody is saying to you, well, John, come on, open up. You haven't said anything. It's not like that at all. It's not like an AA meeting where they want to get everybody to talk. When I say people are sharing, I mean literally, you will sit down for lunch. You say, how was your ceremony last night? And then they just start sharing. They'll just start talking about everything, stuff at home. I had one guy say, a week before I got here, I wanted to kill myself. I wanted to commit suicide. You hear people talking about past trauma of giving, aborting a child. I heard this. People are talking to me about this with no prompting at all. Yes, there's tons of hugging. You're going to be people hugging all the time because they're sharing something that's special to them, something that's deep and profound. Crying, yes, all the time. One guy, we couldn't help it because we were at breakfast, and he starts talking about a message that he sent to his sister that he had drifted away from. And he's telling us about this message, and you got six big tough guys, all at this table. All of a sudden they're like breaking down just listening to the story of this guy reconnecting. And he reconnected with his sister right at breakfast. Like, he showed us the message from his sister that he was reaching out to, and this was occurring in real time. And this was happening all week. People sharing their stories, people sharing their experience. All of this is as important as the ayahuasca. It's as important as the meetings that are actually run by a staff member, that where people are sharing. So again, you never know where your next great conversation is going to come from. I had some amazing conversations about everything, from the meaning of life to air traffic control. And people they're again, everybody is there. Everybody's having their personal journey. There's always comfort. There's always support from people close by. And a lot of times people will just seek out comfort from fellow guests. And it's pretty special. I've never seen anything like it. Who is this for? This is important. Okay. First of all, any denomination. So in, my last day there, I was just kind of hanging around late, because it was my last night. So I was just, a few people, a few stragglers. We were just talking. There's four of us, and at the table of the four of us talking about this amazing week, we had, me, the atheist, my buddy who was Muslim, and another. When I say buddy, I met them there. Another who was a devout Jew, and another who considered herself spiritual and that believed in God but had no denomination. So it is for anyone. And when you leave there, nobody is saying, hey, did you change denominations to the right one? No, nobody cares. Nobody gives a shit about your denomination. That's not why people are there for. And again, Hasidic Jews go there, Muslims go there, Hindus go there, people of all faith go there. There's no God or belief that is forbidden or discouraged at all. And again, atheists have just as deep an experience. I've seen it. I've talked to people. Anyone who is anxiety ridden, I think will get a lot out of it. People that have had the deepest and most profound loss, losing of a child. I mean, what's more profound than that? I've seen them find some solace and comfort in the program. Everyone has their own reason. It's different for everyone. So don't think, am I going there for the right reason? Okay. Most people there were single travelers. They did not come with a friend, girlfriend, boyfriend, husband, wife, parent. They were there as a single traveler. I suggest that this is the best way to do it. The couples that were there that I thought they got a lot out of it tended to be older. There was a young couple that I thought, I don't think they're here for the right reason. They kept trying to sneak away to be with each other. I think they thought that this was going to be like going to somewhere and hanging out with each other and just taking in the stars with each other. That's not the point. That is not the point. But every group is different. So the group that came in after us, there was like a little overlap, and we start talking to them, and you can see that they're all a little bit different. Who is this not for? If you are someone who thinks, yeah, man, I want to go do ayahuasca, because I love doing drugs and I want to get my vision and I want to see the minions. That's not what this is about. You're not going there to do a party drug. First of all, it's not a drug, but you're not going there to party. And the word fun is not a word that I heard at all that week. It is work. You're working, like you're doing yoga, you're doing meditation, you're doing breath work, you're figuring out how to do the ayahuasca. Okay. Those looking to have fun, quotation marks, no, it's not for you. This is work. You're not going zip lining. It seems like work, and it is draining. Newlyweds, I can't imagine why you would go there as a newlywed. I think that is a bad idea. I think you should come separately. I don't think groups would be a good idea either. Imagine if you're there with three of your buddies, and now somebody wants to, you feel like you want to share something, but now you're holding back because your friends are there, and maybe you're self-conscious talking in front of them. The reality is you're not going to feel self-conscious talking about anything in front of anyone this week. But again, if there's somebody maybe you will. It's easier to talk to strangers. So buddies, beware. If you're going there with your buddy and you're afraid that you're going to say something that maybe they'll hold you against you or make fun of you or break your balls over when you go back home, don't go. Go by yourself. It's not it can be, I think it could be self-defeating if you went with friends. Okay. So again, this is not White Lotus. White Lotus is this fake place for fake people, right? On television. This is like the White Lotus, but for real human beings with real issues to go through and to work through. It's not for influencers if that's why you're going. If you think you're going to pull out your phone and start taking pictures in a ceremony, you'll be lucky if somebody doesn't beat the crap out of you. And again, next day they're sending you home. Okay, they're sending you home. So don't do it. And for those who just want the psychedelic trip, I'm just going because I want to do, a psychedelic trip. Well, you know what? Go get some peyote and go to Joshua Tree and just take it there. Just do peyote and or do your DMT somewhere. This is a program. Okay. It's an actual program and there's a structure to it. It makes sense. Jerry, the guy who runs it, amazing person, um, has done it this way for a reason. Okay. And again, they've got data to back up. It is cost prohibitive. So I don't know what the cost is right now. You can look it up on their website. I think it's in American funds as well. So it can be cost prohibitive. Now, some people are going to say it was no big deal. I'm coming again next year and I'm coming again the year after that, you know? And for some, they had to save up. It was that important to them. They had to save up money because it was that important, because maybe they felt that they needed it and they didn't get anything anywhere else. Um, Now, you can be put in a room that's a single by yourself, or you can share with a stranger. If you share with a stranger, you save a couple grand. That's a big deal. And I will say, if you think it's a big deal to share with somebody, you're rarely in your room. You're not in your room that much, honestly. You're there to shower and to sleep. And some people actually got really close uh, with their uh, with their mates. That again, they were strangers and they didn't know, right? But at the end, they start sharing, they start talking, and then before you know it, they're friends. So, yes, it can be cost prohibitive, but you can save a couple grand if you share. Um, so, would I recommend going? I think that this place is an absolute unicorn. 100% I would recommend it. I recommend this for anyone. By the way, I haven't even talked about the fact that they also do they have a lab there that does stem cell um, therapy as well. So if anybody's interested in stem cells, maybe I can do a different video on that on a different day. But would I recommend? Absolutely, 100%. I can't think of a single thing that would preclude me from recommending this place. The experience was deep and profound. Um, the associations that I got, the conversations, it's actually quite tough for me being back for a week now. I've been back for a week and people just don't get it. They don't get you sometimes if you talk about this, they want to know about it. And it's something I say, it's like art. It can't be described. It needs to be experienced. And I have never experienced anything like this place. It really is an oasis. There's, not only is it the legal kind, the legal one of its kind in the world that does what they're doing. And by the way, they're looking at opening a second one in Dubai. If this is something that interests you, if taking ayahuasca is something that interests you, you got to do. I wouldn't do it anywhere else. I'm too scared to go do it in jungle with some stranger, although some people have done that. It's just not me. I love the safety around this place, but also again, it's not just safety. It's not just the program. It's just the fact that this oasis in the middle of a jungle, as soon as you step on there, you feel lighter, you feel different. You feel, you know what, I can talk, I can just say whatever I want. Nobody's going to judge you. And nobody's going to make you feel bad about yourself. In fact, it'll be quite the opposite. So again, deep and profound. It's like nothing else I've seen on earth. It's not just a unicorn, which is why I say it's like a Sasquatch riding a unicorn on top of a Loch Ness monster. It is so unique. The people are unique. They're so sweet and friendly and nice. And the weather is the same every single day. And there's Galaxy, the amazing dog that roams the property, making sure there's no bad juju. And there's parrots and there's monkeys. The staff again is amazing. Everything is thought out. Everything is thought out to how the program is run, what is in every program, what is in every meditation, meditation session, what is every yoga session, why the breath work, 3 different kinds, why are there 4 different kinds of ayahuasca, why is there the night of the femininity, which was again so amazing for the dudes absolutely loved it. For me personally, it brought back memories of my aunts and my mom from years ago. And it was one of the most amazing memories that I've ever had. And this brought up that memory, but also put it in a different light. I can't recommend this place enough. The shamans are special. There's a serenity to them, and they help guide you, and they really, really are quite incredible. Totally memorable week, like nothing I've ever experienced in my life. And I suggest to anybody that's interested in ayahuasca. Let's stop sharing here for a second. Um, I'm not going to tell you to do ayahuasca. I'm not going to tell you not to do it. If it is something that interests you, look it up. Look up ayahuasca. Do your research on ayahuasca. If you've decided this is something for me, I don't know of another place that I would recommend doing it. If somebody has an idea or has more questions, hey, reach out, Dean at prometheusnow.com. This will be posted on that website as well as YouTube. And all I can say is thank you to Rythmia, thank you to Jerry, thank you to Dwayne, thank you to the entire staff for an amazing, amazing experience. And hopefully now I can be as serene back here when I'm dealing with the motor DMV and all the other nonsense that you have to deal with on a daily basis. All right, so that is it. We are ending this special presentation on special topic. All right, so to the rest of you, take care of each other, take care of yourself, and be good. Bye-bye.